President Trump today announced his tax proposals. They are a disaster.
Thank you very much. You just want massive tax cuts. That's what you want.
They're designed to benefit the very wealthiest people in this country at the expense of virtually everybody else.
The largest tax cut in our country's history.
And here is the context of Trump's tax proposals. Remember, just the other day, the Republicans were pushing a health care proposal that would have thrown 30 million people off of the health insurance they have and cut Medicaid over a 10-year period by $8 trillion. And the reason they did that, ostensibly, was because they're very worried about the national debt and the deficit. Well, what about this tax proposal? What does this do? Well, what this does is give massive tax breaks to the wealthiest people in this country and the largest corporations, and significantly increase the national debt by trillions of dollars. So you cut Medicaid by $8 trillion, throw people off health insurance in order to have the money available to give tax breaks to the wealthiest people in this country. We are living now at a moment of obscene and grotesque income and wealth inequality. Top 1/10% now owns as much wealth as the bottom 90%. 52% of all new income goes to the top 1%. And what Trump and his Republican friends want to do is make the very, very rich even richer, run up the deficit, and then announce that they got to cut Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and everything else. Let me give you one example in this tax proposal, just one example of how absurd it is. Trump wants to repeal the estate tax. The estate tax applies only to the top 0.2%. The very, very, very richest families in this country, 99.8% of the American people do not pay a nickel in estate taxes. If that estate tax were repealed, we would lose something like $269 billion in revenue over a 10-year period. Families like the Walton family and the Koch brothers and the Adelson family, Sheldon Adelson, and families like the Trump family, multi-billionaire families would receive huge tax breaks while the middle class continues to shrink. Now, by standing together as a nation, we were able to defeat these disastrous health care proposals that the Republicans proposed. Our job now is again to stand together, to say to Trump, to say to the Republicans in Congress, yeah, we want tax reform. You're right. Tax system really is broken. But the way we're going to reform our tax system is not to give tax breaks to billionaires and to very large profitable corporations who are making record-breaking profits. What we are going to do is finally demand that the wealthiest people in this country and the largest corporations start paying their fair share of taxes. That is tax reform. So let's work together, and I think if we do, we can beat this back, because the American people are pretty clear that at a time of so much inequality in America, the last thing we need to do is to make the very rich richer and everybody else poorer. Let's go forward together. Thank you.